Thank you, Mr. Harrison and the Shawnee Mission East Band. At this time, we would like to invite the audience to join our senior choir members under the direction of Mr. Ken Foley in singing our national anthem.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. And the rocket's red glare, the Lord's mercy giving them, came through the night, that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please be seated. Good evening, students, parents, family members, and staff. Many authors have written about formulas for success. Most of these formulas, of course, do not include concrete numbers, but describe the intangible characteristics that make great leaders. However, tonight I do want to share with you two concrete numbers that will play an important part in the success of this graduating class. The 2011 Shawnee Mission East graduating seniors have been offered over $19.6 million in scholarships. These seniors have accepted over $5.8 million in scholarships. Yes, these concrete numbers are very impressive, but as Dr. Krautz will speak about later this evening, this class also has all of those intangible characteristics that make great leaders. So when you combine the leadership characteristics with the opportunities afforded by the numbers, the results will be immeasurable. So, class of 2011, we cannot wait to see the great things that you will do. Now it is my pleasure to introduce Mrs. Heather Royce, Associate Principal.
It's my pleasure to introduce the distinguished guests up on stage with us this evening. Donna Bisfield, board member. Larry Wynn, board member. Cindy Neighbor, board member. Dr. Jean Johnson, superintendent. Mr. Bob DePiro, deputy superintendent. Dr. Curtis Kane, associate superintendent. Leanne Neal, associate superintendent. Carla Allen, principal at Indian Hills Middle School. Mike Rasmussen, associate principal at Mission Valley Middle School. David Conradi, principal at Tomahawk Elementary. And Scott Murfin, principal at Prairie Elementary. Thank you for coming. It's now my honor to introduce a young man that I've known since he was about 2 years old, our Student Council President, Mr. Logan Healy.
It's a pretty long walk. Parents, faculty, esteemed guests, viewers from around the world watching live on SMEharbinger.net, and of course, fellow students. Welcome to tonight's graduation ceremony for the Shawnee Mission East class of 2011. Peers, our classmates have excelled at the highest levels in every endeavor East has to offer. I'll resort to an old cliche and say that our class's list of accomplishments is simply too long to mention each one individually in this speech. We're a class that recognizes when people in our community are in need and work to help them. When the house of one of our Lancer families burnt down this year, we were there to help them rebuild. And when an inner city school needed drums for their drum line, we ran to make sure they could continue playing. Before this year, we were challenged to not repeat the same mistakes that other Lancer fans had made in years past. We went beyond that. Not only were we respectful in the stands, but it made a difference on the court and on the field. Most importantly, though, is that our classes come together in these 4 years. From the first day of freshman orientation, we've slowly built a bond that will last long into the future. We can look back fondly on this class and what it has accomplished. We've taken East's standard of excellence and set the bar even higher. What we can't forget are the high expectations that others have for our class, that we have for our classmates, and that each of us has for ourselves. Some have called our class the best they've ever had. Those are some pretty powerful words, especially when they come from a teacher or a principal. So far, I think we've done a good job living up to them. But those expectations don't cease when you cross this stage. No, by being a member of East Class of 2011, you've committed yourself to much more. These last 4 years, we've never accepted the status quo. We've pushed our school, our peers, and ourselves to be better. This drive to constantly improve wasn't the philosophy of just one team or one group of individuals, but of our entire class. That's what makes us unique. This class has amazing potential. We've done so much already, and it'd be a waste not to finish the job. It's our responsibility to those who have supported us and think highly of us. Our class can do great things in the future, and if we ever doubt ourselves, we need only remember that we are a part of the class of 2011, the greatest class in East history. To those of you in the stands, or wherever you may be, who have supported us in our pursuits of perfection, thank you. To the dedicated faculty, staff, and administration of Shawnee Mission East, thank you for caring about our futures. We hope that those in power understand the value of what you do, and we hope that you will always get the support you need to help future Lancers succeed. And to my fellow classmates, stay safe, be responsible, and always remember what it means to be a part of the class of 2011. Thank you.
Thank you, Logan. At this time, it is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Jean Johnson, Superintendent, Shawnee Mission Schools, who will read the names of the top 10 academic students, and Ms. Donna Bisfield, East Area Board of Education member, who will place the gold cords on the students. Names will be read in reverse alphabetical order, and students should remain on the stage until all have received their gold cords.
It is my pleasure to introduce the top 10 students at Shawnee Mission East High School for 2010-2011. Brian M. Williamson. Emily E. Welter. Lucas C. Throckmorton. Lauren M. Stanley. Gillian M.
O'Connell. Pratna Dalal. Spencer D. Brown. Anna C. Bernard. Madeline G. Bavley. Peter W. Botts. Congratulations to these outstanding students.
And now some parting thoughts from our senior class president, Mr. Andrew Goebel.
Classmates, I'm honored to be speaking here today. Yes, it is only because I'm senior class president, and yes, I'm only senior class president because no one else ran, but still, I'm truly honored to represent the class of 2011 right before we receive our diplomas. Let's get one thing straight about this speech. If you're depending on a 3-minute senior graduation speech to make that big change in your life, I'm sorry, but it's a little too late. So, instead of giving you condescending advice and quotes that I would have had to look up on Google, let me share 3 reasons we should always be proud to be a Lancer. We should be proud Lancers first because of how much we've grown together in 4 years. It is so easy to look back on these 4 years and think you're always the person you are today. But think with me here for a second. Close your eyes and imagine, really try and imagine for a couple of seconds who you were on the first day of high school. Not a whole lot of you seem to be enjoying this thought. We were once loud, annoying, and inconsiderate freshmen. Some of us didn't change very much. But most of us grew into leaders of this school. Whether we always showed it or not, I'm confident that every student here knows how to work hard and act like a mature adult. The second reason I'm proud to be a Lancer is the passion and pride we put into everything we did this year. As co-editor of The Harbinger, I could easily tell the difference between last year and this year. This year, we always had way more story ideas than we could cover because there were so many different groups and individuals that succeeded on state, national, and international levels. I also saw this passion in the development of the senior float for the Lancer Day Parade. The theme of the floats this year, don't laugh. The theme for the floats this year was supposed to be some type of toy, but in true class of 2011 fashion, we ended up with the theme kindergarten. This was a worse idea than when I promised our grade I would turn the 4th floor into a petting zoo, and that's saying something. In a last-second scramble, we built a float consisting mostly of boxes that a local liquor store donated and that we painted to look like red, blue, and yellow building blocks. This was not just the worst float of this year's Lancers Day Parade. I would stretch as far to say that it was the worst float in the last decade. However, once we got in the queue to travel down Mission Road, the school spirit of the class of 2011 made it so no one even noticed on our float. There were over 200 kids surrounding the float, all wearing crazy outfits and chanting and throwing paint at each other. While we may not have been experts in float building, we were experts in showing passion for this school, and we should always remember that. The final reason I am proud to be a Lancer is how much we celebrated the successes of each other. Whether it was a sports team or debate or theater or band or orchestra or journalism or choir or DECA or any of the multitude of successful programs at East, it never felt like anyone was envious or critical of the success of others. Because of this, we were able to break past the usual stereotypes and cliques that make the traditional high school setting miserable. We embraced anyone that did something that made the school look great, and we were often there in large numbers to support our classmates at sporting events. This positive vibe is rare, and it's part of the reason that this year was so special. So as I leave, I will give you one piece of advice. Think about everyone that has supported you so far in life. Your family, your friends, the faculty, anyone. Remember to thank every single person that made a difference in your life, because otherwise, they might never know that they made that difference. Thank you, and congratulations to the class of 2011. No regrets.
Thank you, Andrew. At this time, it is my pleasure and honor to introduce Dr. Carl Krawitz, Shawnee Mission East principal, who will present the class of 2011 to the Board of Education.
Thank you, Mr. Ogden. Before presenting the class 2011 to Dr. Johnson and Ms. Donna Bisfield, our East Board of Education representative, I'd like to take just a few moments to thank some people who made all this happen and to share just a few thoughts with the departing graduates. I'd like to thank our communication and operation and maintenance department for setting up the stage, for the Harbinger Online for televising this worldwide, and to Joe Gilhouse, the principal here at Shawnee Mission South, and his staff for assisting and being so hospitable for tonight's ceremony. Please join me in showing our appreciation for all these people. Thank you. You know, I have to say this truly has been a special class, and as I've been thinking about this over the last few weeks as the year was coming to a close, I got to thinking that maybe one of the top 5, maybe one of the top 3, and then I got to a point where I said, no, this in my 40+ years is the best class I've ever been associated with. Now, I don't want anybody to think out there that I think all the other classes before them were horrible. They all provided enormous contributions to our school. But this particular class went beyond that, and we've already heard some of those things. They went beyond it in scholarship and leadership and involvement and sportsmanship and spirit, and one thing more so than anything else, they did the right thing. I have to tell you that having a class such as this often gets into a debate, and I told the seniors on Monday a little bit of the debate I had with my 2 sons, because as I was talking to them about this unbelievable class, of course, my oldest son said, Dad, don't you remember, you know, our class was the very best class. And I said, no, not so. Now, my younger son was listening to this conversation. He piped in a very sarcastic way, and he said, that's because our class was the best class. And I said, no. And as you can imagine, the rest of the evening didn't go well as we debated this. Mr. Lowe talked about the scholarship offerings and the amount of money that our students have accepted. The $19.6 million being offered is over $5 million more than last year, which was a record last year. I think we can applaud this effort and accomplishment, but more importantly is their overall attitude of their leadership. They chose to change the image of our school in regard to the character and to our sportsmanship. For the first time, folks, I can honestly stand before you, and in 20 years, we went to contests and games and could enjoy them. Enjoy them because this class chose to set a new direction for this school in terms of who they are and who they represent. That is an enormous accomplishment when students can govern themselves, and they did it more so than anyone else. Graduates, yes, this year's gone fast, and you know you have the challenges set before you, and they're not going to be easy. How you approach them may very well determine how you'll be in later life. This means, of course, you'll have to develop some kind of plan. Your plan serves as your roadmap to the future. Understand, all roadmaps, no matter how they're defined, certainly doesn't mean that once you're there, you've accomplished anything. You yourself have to establish that. You must be willing to hold yourself accountable without any excuses. You will need to build relationships with others that are open, honest, and sincere. You'll need to develop a personal code of ethics, and finally have a sense of humility. If you're able to harness the power of these attributes, you will not only feel more confident, you'll also have the ability to lead others, regardless of the organizations that you're in or the goals that you're setting for yourself. You see, leadership isn't about arrogance or power. It's about serving others and helping them achieve their goals. It's about motivation, inspiration, and bringing hope to everyone who's around you. Unfortunately, today our country is filled with plenty of selfishness, greed, and self-promotion. This is why decision-making process in Washington is not happening. Believe me, these issues plague every profession in our country. The future can look bleak, but many believe this negative tide can be changed. And I have to tell you, in all sincerity, standing here in front of these young people today, I see that future right here in front of me. You have the ability and you have the mindset to make the change. Make it. Author Shirley Murray Bethel says we need a new breed of leader. These people are hungry for change. They're men and women who are strong, mentally quick, politically limber, emotionally stable, intellectually superior, and who are unselfish and believe in the concept of win-win. These new leaders can define the purpose, and they're willing to be accountable for doing what is right, and simply to not just do anything for their own goodwill. They believe in being open and transparent. They build positive relationships where blame and finger-pointing simply does not exist. According to Bethel, these new breed of leaders are effective not because they're taking steps to be humble. They have already arrived at being humble. To become this new breed of leader will require you to have a lot of courage. You must have the courage to seek out this truth, to lead an ethical life, to be involved, to reject cynicism, to take on responsibility, to be willing to persevere, and finally, you must have the mindset to serve others who need us the most. In a few short minutes, your time together as a class will be over. Wish each other well and cherish the memories. Graduates, understand this is a special time because you will never pass this way again. More importantly, as been mentioned, you must thank your parents and guardians. And if you haven't already, thank your teachers. In fact, what I'd really like to ask you to do is become an advocate of education by committing now to have a first-class educational system in our country, not for me, but for your own children. Be sure to make a promise to yourself about taking care of our planet. Understand we cannot continue to abuse Mother Nature without paying a dear price. Cherish the word freedom by refusing not to abuse or circumvent the Constitution or the laws of our land. Lastly, and one of the things that I've said for over 20 years in doing this, is to end with the words from Stephen Covey, known expert in the field of leadership, and I hope you'll use these words to guide you forward in your life. Graduates, the best way to predict your future is for you to go out and create it. Best of luck to all of you. Please come back and see us. You will always be loved. You'll be close to me in my heart for a long, long time. Once a Lancer, always a Lancer. Thank you. Now, Dr. Johnson and Mrs. Bisfield, if you'll join me up here. I will present the class of 2011 to Dr. Johnson.
It is my pleasure to certify that the students who will be receiving their diplomas this evening have completed the course of studies as prescribed by the Kansas State Department of Education and the Shawnee Mission Board of Education. It is therefore the recommendation of the staff and administration of Shawnee Mission East High School that they be awarded their diplomas.
On behalf of the Shawnee Mission Board of Education, I accept the recommendation of the staff and administration of Shawnee Mission East High School and ask that the members of the class of 2011 present themselves for the presentation of diplomas.
As our graduates walk across the stage this evening, we invite our distinguished guests to congratulate them and hand them their diplomas. Ashley Elizabeth Adams. Claudia Marie Adams. Laurel Sage Adams. Timothy James Ahern. Elizabeth Ann Albano. John Carter Aldrich. Julian Carr Eliber. Samuel Charles Amrine. Chloe Marie Anderson. Jill Nicole Anderson. Rachel Ann Arnold. Ryan Michael Ash. Amber Atha. Drew Monacy Auer. Mario Ernesto Avalos. Sean Reed Bailey. Samantha Elizabeth Bamford. Brooklyn Elizabeth Barnes. Caroline Sue Barnett. Samantha Mary Elizabeth Bartow. Peter William Bouts. Madeline Grace Bavely. Dylan Tyler Becker. Natalie Lynn Bender. William Thomas Olson. Anna Charlotte Bernard. Samuel Warren Berry. Catherine Suzanne Beaver. Catherine Ann Birkenmeyer. Morgan Lee Blackerby. Melinda Shelton Blackman. Elizabeth Claire Blesson. Emily Rose Block. Grace Elizabeth Bame. Bailey Adair Borgmeyer. Courtney Laura Lynn Boyd. Sarah Ann Braden. Helen Marie Bradley. Cray Kyle Bradley. Jackson Richard Brett. Margaret Elizabeth Brookfield. Kylie Joe Brooks. George Thomas Brophy. Spencer David Brown. Reed Aaron Brummer. Jaquan Terrell Brunt. Haley Elizabeth Bublitz. Olivia Catherine Bullard. Brennan Michael Burns. Mackenzie Tiedemann Burhoff. David Leroy Burton, Jr. Molly Marie Caldwell. Rebecca Ann Kallstrom. Sean Thomas Cameron. Elizabeth Estelle Capps. Alexander Bo Carver. Tyler Isaiah Cecil. Kelsey Marie Chad. Kirsten Nicole Chad. Julie Elizabeth Chalfont. Anthony Robert Christensen. Bennett Russell Clark. Kirsten Nicole Clark. Angela Augusta Clem. Kirby Lynn Clements. Brianna Danielle Cochran. Elizabeth Jean Colburn. Zachariah Herbert Colby. Daniel Holden Colbank. Andrew Ryan Collins. Emily Jean Collins. Trevor Coltrane Collins.
Nicholas Andrew Collum. Kim Renee Conrads. Amy Roberta Cosgrove. Catherine Ruth Cox. Jan Christopher Kreidenberg. Rebecca Marie Crooks. Pratna Jignesh Dalal. Catherine Elizabeth Darling. Jonathan Elliott Dawson. David Alexander DeChant. Elizabeth Blythe D. John Everett D. Allison Nicole Dees. Reg Voldemort Delara. Carolyn Grace Dillette. Michaela Ashley Dimitroulis. Jacob Nikolai DeVries. Megan Elizabeth Dexter. Avik Dar. Nicholas Alexander DeGico. Caroline Elizabeth Dorr. McNeil Philip Dolliver. Pablo Daniel Dominguez. Oliver Perkins Dubois. Dylan Kester Dunn. Rachel Ann Duval. Hannah K. Early. Mark Joseph Edmonds. Emily Brooke Ellenberger. Grant Taylor Ellis. Trayvon Dante Emery. Robert Ling Enders. Kyle Damian Ingleton. Colin Cooper Inger. Chase Robert Inns. Jack McKinney Esberg. Brandon William Evinger. Ian Michael Exline. Theodore Martin Fields. Kristen Michelle Fisher. Lauren Corinne Fisher. Chloe Caroline Fishgren. Haley Joe Fisher. Nicole Josephine Fogelgren Bruberg. Haley Megan Fosnau Byersmith. Henry Bradley Foster. Michael Thomas Foster. Peter Tomas Frizzell. Hayden James Fry. David James Frizzell. Emily Catherine Fuson. Caitlin Nicole Ganapini. Griffith Park Gans. Madeline Elizabeth Gahn. Sarah Ann Genton. Duncan Campbell Gibbs. Lauren Elizabeth Gillespie. Heather Nicole Glaze. Andrew Lee Goebel. Emily Taylor Gearing. Madeline Bond Goss. Brianna Christine Gray. Jennifer Johnson Gray. Melissa Renee Gregg. Carly Lauren Griffith. Catherine Gainey Griffith. Catherine Cruz Grumbles. Ross William Guion.
In Chang Han. Paige Anna Gundelfinger. Elise Nicole Hackler. Grant Leon Halderman. James Darrell Harbison. Olivia Ann Harlan. Jack Andrew Harrigan. Kaya Faith Harris. Tarina A.B. Harris. Michael Thomas Hart. Lindsay Kathleen Hartnett. Samuel August Hadaway. Madison Diane Haverty. Thomas Michael Hayde Jr. Alexander Paul Healy. Kirsten May Heath. Logan Matthews Heidman. Grant Thomas Heinlein. Logan William Healy. Ryan Elliott Hengy. Callie Newman Hennig. Jordan Lee Herring. C. J. Hicks. Todd Spencer Higbee. David Eric Hill. Joseph Joshua Hodos. Matthew James Hoffman. Rachel Ann Hoffman. Riley Walker Hoffman. Emily Margaret Hoffmeister. Morgan Ray Holm. Marissa Ann Horwitz. Charles Adams Hotchkiss. Shang Tong Hung. Allison Lynn Hunter. Spencer Raymond Hunzecker. Isabel Elise Hewitt. April Nicole Irvine. Adam Jeffrey Eisenberg. Perry Bradford Jackson. Anna Celia Faye Jacobson. Lauren Westbrook Jameson. Thomas Spencer Gerald. Corey Nelson Jeanette. Robert Eugene Joka. Brad Patrick Johnson. Mary Elizabeth Joyce. Grace Dixon Junk. Nora Kate Canali. Michael Alexander Kaplan. Joseph Andrew Koshka. Jacob Michael Kaufman. Jennifer Marie Kaufman. Alexander Charles Keller. Tyler William Kavanaugh. Robert Peyton Kelly. Samantha Kathleen Kelly. Kathleen Ann Kennelly. Shauna Kathleen Kenton. Cassie Elizabeth Kerr. Frederick Carter Kerr. Whitney Edward Kerr III. Precious Kibyana Kidd. Lauren Mackenzie King. Kendall Claire Conley. Kelsey Taylor Coast. Elise Catherine Kuklinski. Molly Catherine Kurtz. Brian Odell Kurtz. Pauline Marion Liberta.
Brittany Ann Lackner. Austin Kent Lage. Carmen Valentine Lang. Brian Douglas Lavota. Christopher Anthony Lanza. Jesse Walter Sauter Lavender. Abigail Barr Leak. Jeffrey A. Lefko. Aubrey Rose Leiter. Melanie Iwen Lang. Benjamin Anthony Liu. Rebecca Judith Lopez. Thomas Christopher Loudon. Nick Reed Lucas. Jacob Ryan Liebarger. Olivia Noel Lynch. Garrett Glenn Lynn. Paul Julius McKender. Timothy Clark Madison. Joshua Allen Mays. Catherine Olivia Mansfield. Caroline Marie Marland. Emma May Marston. Robert Andrew Martin. Daniel Antonio Martinez. Paige Sophia Martz. Michaela Maria Matheson. Skylar L. McChristy. Susan Marie McClanahan. Patrick Joseph McGannon. Margaret Elizabeth McGilly. Jacob Taylor McGillicuddy. Sarah Louise McKittrick. Robbie Stephen Meddy. Micah Catherine Melia. John Christopher Melvin. Cameron Neil Mendez, Mark Manning Mergen, Riley James Muir, Allison Brooke Meyer, John Vincent Meyer, Madeline Lee Middleton, Austin Joseph Miller, Brett Kenneth Miller, Ford Thomas Miller, Lauren Ann Miller, Logan Catherine Mitchell, Terrell Rayshawn Moore, Nicholas Kelly Morgan, Robert Brian Moriarty, Emily Virginia Morris, John Andrew Morrison III, Alex Robert Moskowitz, Pauline Louise Meitinger, Megan Kimberly Nass, Zachary Chapman Nass, Corey Elizabeth Neidel, Ian Robert Nelson, Heather Ann Nelson, Samantha Victoria Nelson, Lauren Elizabeth Newell, Preston Riley Norman, Andrew Thomas North, John Christopher O'Brien, Gillian Michael O'Connell, Cormac Joseph O'Connor, Tyler Morgan Odell, Ashley Elaine Olson,
Stephen Dale Onions Jr., Jeremy William Osborne, David Henry Owens, William Chadwick Papineau, Natalie Kathleen Parker, Vincent Leland Parsons, Megan Danielle Pavlou, Claire Elizabeth Perkins, Eric Randall Peterson, Russell Thomas Philpott, Christian Panella, Alexander James Perot, Angela D. Padal, Christopher James Pointer, Alyssa K. Pollock, Keshav Ramaswamy, Molly Lynn Rappold, Thomas Nathaniel Reed, Graham Nelson Rettelsheimer, Michaela Marie Reamer-Pfeiffer, Bridget Leah Reitzel, Alicia Marie Raina, Rachel Kate Rice, Catherine Elizabeth Richardson, Michelle Catherine Richardson. Carrie Ann Ricketts. Celeste Nicole Renner. J. M. Rios. Cody Russell Robertson. Connor Reed Robertson. Alexander David Rory. James Anthony Rosa. Ashley Paige Rosenstock. Hannah Elise Rosti. Donald Christian Roth. Jacob William Rudolph. Antonio Jesus Ruiz. Andrew M. Ryan. Kyle Richard Santa Cruz. Courtney Lynn Schenkelberg. Brandon Christopher Schufs. Eden Elizabeth Schufs. John Bradley Schrock. Emma Kathleen Schulte. Faye Catherine Schumacher. Anthony Paul Scott. Adam Paul Seligson. Joseph Alonzo Cernette. Will Joseph Severance. Annie Elizabeth Scroy. Lydia Jane Shackelford. Pyle Sharma Machara. Jesse P.W. Sharp. John Francis Sheehan. Dana Kate Sherrard. Ariana Marie Shirk. Alexander John Shook. Barcelano Luciano Sigler. Dennis Clyde Simmons. Margaret Pierce Simmons. Connor MacArthur Simpson. Kevin William Simpson. Nathan Edward Simpson. Jacob Anthony Cerna. Benjamin Jerome Slater. Cameron Alexander Smith.
David Burke Smith. Elise Wilson Smith. Louis Lagarde Smith. Amelia Antoinette Snively. Kathleen Torrance Spencer. Bailey A. Spickler. Lauren Meredith Stanley. Elizabeth Catherine Steinbach. Jeremy Rickman Steiner. Graham Vern Stevenson. Daniel Scott Stewart. Haley Alexandra Stewart. Caitlin Ann Stewart. John Scott Stiles.
Gail Ashley Stonebarger. Peter Newcomb Stout. Hannah Jane Stradinger. Paige Lynn Swanson. Jeffrey William Tate. Rachel Marie Thomas. Audrey Diane Thompson. John Mitchell Thorpe. Rebecca Jean Thrasher. Lucas Christian Throckmorton. Cooper Hunter Toombs. Gregory Beckman Tracy. Molly Catherine Troutman. Dejon Sierra Tucker. Cole Patrick Turner. Michael John Tushoff. Connor McGuire Twyble. Emma Christine Tyler. Brandon Lee Updike. Tatiana Rafaela Verdonk. Claire Margaret Warrer. Ryan Oliver Waisner. Reed Robert Walden. Hannah Nicole Walter. Elizabeth Dovey Ward. Andrew Gordon Watkins. Catherine Lucille Watkins. Duran Jerome Watson. Riley J. Watson. Scott William Watson. Hope Cherie Waugh. Grace Lucille Webster. Logan Carr Weckbaugh. Raina Danielle Weinberg. Nathan Allen Welch. Emily Elizabeth Welter. Allison Jane Wendorf. Timothy Javon Went. Alexander McKinley West. Caitlin Elizabeth Westhoff. Russell Curtis White. Andrea Genevieve Wickstrom. Connor Bryant Wilkins. Sharon Jewel Williams. Claire Caroline Williams. Brian Mathers Williamson. Amy Elizabeth Wilson. Drake Alexander Wynn. Reed Andrew Woltering. Tessa Ricks Wood. Chase Allen Woofter. Darby Jansen Wooldridge. Peter Andrew Young. Andrea Francis Zisi. Chen Sean Joe. Which way do I go?
Seniors, at this time, first let me apologize. Graduates, at this time, you can now move your tassels from the right side to the left side. Congratulations. If everyone could please stand for the playing of our school song, followed by the recessional.